Good evening, fellows. Good evening, guys. Hi. Hope you have been having a very, mind-boggling and mind-changing day. But it's not over yet. Definitely. I mean, even we are in utter surprise and awe as to the amount of information and knowledge we have been able to gather in this two-day event. I mean, each day is just getting better and better. It's so sad that it ends today. But again, there is still some left. So now it's time to move on to a panel discussion that was supposed to happen yesterday, but don't worry, we are here now and we're going to be as energetic as we would be. So, the topic of the panel discussion, as you might be knowing, is technology an enabler in changing the fabric of architecture. So, if you think the topic of the panel is interesting, trust me, the panelists are even more interesting. So, first and foremost, I will be moderating this event. And as you already have been seeing me from the last 2 days, my name is Benita Hoshal, and I am the editor in chief of the East India Perspective. Now, bringing on board our first panelist is Ms. Onzur Pinarse from Mask Architects. Ms. Onzur is an international award winning Turkish architect and founding principal and lead design architect of Mask in Italy. She graduated as the best of her generation, ranking first place prize of the Faculty of Fine Arts at the Cyprus International University with the high honor degree in 2014. She was awarded many international awards for her design projects during her study period. One of her important career experiences is that she has worked as one of three lead architects and architectural designer on numerous projects at all stages from conception design to implementation and has extensive knowledge of schemes that are bespoke and site specific at Istanbul new airport duty free stores project and public zones between 2016 and 2018 period. But I'm pretty sure when somebody as talented as Oznur is here on the ground, I would not like to continue speaking about her. So Oznur, we welcome you wholeheartedly. Welcome to IIDA 2.0. Please take the dais and please, we are more than willing and excited to hear about your work.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here on behalf of Mask Architects at IIDA Summit, and I really want to thank you to all who invite us to be there in today. And so I just want to introduce a little bit about our work. Mask Architects is a young international award-winning architectural and design studio established in Sardinia, Olbia, in 2020 officially. We have been working in any field of architecture, industrial design, and luxury industrial design firm with my partner Danilo Petta. And I could say a little bit short of things that what we have been doing with Danilo. The main sources of inspiration that we get while we are realizing our projects is diversity of our own perspectives, experience, a challenge, and ethnics and culture and educational background that we gain from our own timeline. And so we call it our own formula, and so which is our main success and richness of our ideas and perspectives. With this harmonization of professional disciplines under one umbrella, which as we call it a new formula. Danilo and I have been continue to work together to create a new, a more sustainable, environmental, eco-friendly design way in our projects, and while at the same time adapting newest technological innovations for a new sustainable construction methods for our design projects. And we also follow a newest development closely, and we continue to improve our capability and every day and update ourselves with our own opportunities.
Oh, thank you so much, Oznur, for that really short yet sweet, yet such a nice explanation of what exactly Mask Architects does. And I'm pretty sure we'll be getting.
Diversity.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure we'll be getting to hear more of your views during this panel discussion that we will be having. But now it's time to bring our other panelist and introduce him in this picture. So next up, we have architect Monish Sripuraku from Ant Studio. Monish is a graduate from the School of Planning and Architecture, that is SPA Delhi, with the sole motive to bridge the gap between craft and machinery, embracing all the spheres of art, architecture, technology, and materiality, fusing it with nature. Through their transdisciplinary approach in their projects, they have pushed their designs to go beyond functional and aesthetic concern to concoct an affiliation between built and nature. As a research driven studio, emphasis is given on material exploration and advanced tools, tethering labor intensive construction strategies with technology. They aim at experimentation by resorting to a hands on approach in design and innovation. But again, of course, we would like to hear Monish explain these beautiful thought processes and ideologies that their studio runs on. So please, Monish, without any further delay, please bring it on.
Thank you, Benita, for the sweet introduction, and also thank you, IIDA, for having me here. I've been watching and listening to like inspirational talks last couple of days, and it's an honor to be showcasing our work and actually sharing what we're doing. I think what Benita already mentioned about us, we take a lot of I think joy in observing nature and see how we can replicate some of the systems in nature to in works, and where technology becomes a medium to facilitate this. I think it's really important how like. I think in today's date, when there is a lot of noise around sustainability and how we have to keep our entire this the work and construction around making it eco-friendly, but how technology can actually become an enabler in for such a cause. Yes, I mean that's what I think we guys are doing here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Monish, for that introduction. And of course, we are absolutely honored to have you on board. But I'm pretty sure that both Monish and Oznur would like to showcase a few of their works through the various presentations that they have brought forward. So, Oznur, would you like to take up the stand and showcase your work right now?
See? Absolutely. Right now is okay, right? I can
Yes,
continue like this. I can make a full screen. Is it okay for
yes,
you?
it's perfect.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to start with the project Exosteel modular prefabricated houses. We choose this project because this today we would like to mention and show how we use art, architecture, design, and technology with together. With this project, we would like to express very well our ideology, mission, and about our workflow. And so first, I would like to start with my first page, and this is Exosteel, Mother Nature modular prefabricated living museum houses. We have a design, the world first steel 3D printed structure, modular houses for Nivola museums, visitors, tourists, and artists in Orani in Sardinia, city of Sardinia. At this moment, as Mask Architects, our studio is the first architecture and design studio in the world to use a steel 3D printed exoskeleton construction system for modular prefabricated houses, as you see on these images at top. The mother nature is sustainable development of our modular system inspired by the work of Constantina Nivola, who is a local artist and sculptor living Orani. And so we have taken inspiration from his sculpture called Le Madre. And so with this sculpture is currently located in Nivola Museum. And so but we can, if a visitor wants to see him original Lemade sculpture, they can visit Nivola museums. And so with this project, we are we will be named giving this project as development. When you look at to Neolithic period of Sardinia, they pray for Dea Madre, like means that throughout their cultural, it's a concept of idea of the Mediterranean. And so the heart of the earth and all its nature is known as mother. Like a mother, we want to rise up this development and embrace it. It's give like credit to pivotal points, like where woman has influenced to the world. And we try to harmonize two different things with this concept: nature and madre, like a mama, they can call it, within this project. And our development, as you see in this render, our development is a design, a way to become a living landmark in connection with the local heritage. And this iconic project will be a new addition to Orani's social exhibition and living areas. The design will be iconic identity as livable and sociable art pieces, architectural structure, and also that will be develop a new identity of the city as a combination of livable space, sociable space, will be distributed, as you see on these images, on different level of the terrain in the order in order with the different level of modules. And we aim to integrate architecture, art, and technology in these livable museum projects. And our another aim is also to preserve and protect the heritage of Orani, to give the respect of the Constantina Nivola and his works, and continue his legacy to using our modern techniques and our style with the integrated with this the model. And so if we need to get back the first, as you see, this is a sustainable development, and we are get inspired by the Lemade sculpture clearly, and so we are integrate them in a different terrain of the sites. And for us, what's very important things is to provide sustainable development. Okay, we are architect and we are the designer, but reality was Orani need to improve and develop and the reactivate of the social life. And so instead of we put a living landmark, modular houses under terrain, we just want to show the person, the users, visitors, that this is this is Lemade sculptures, but you can also live in these projects at the same time. And so we just try to improve to interior design with the newest technology. And if you see on this plan, this is absolutely show how the person use ground floor. Ground floor of the one module is used to a little bedroom, little study room, and also a little entrances area we have. But second floor, as you see in here, is designed for sociable area. This point was very, very important for us, as you see on these images, because as all the world, we are experienced that in COVID cases, we needed to socialize spaces, but also self-isolated. But also space should be self-isolated. The people will stay in their own house without maybe light, maybe without a window. And so, but if we are architects and designers, in these periods, and even if we are experience these difficulties, our new update and design should be follow and update for humans' life quality. And this project was designed after COVID cases, and so we are highlighted that if in the future, if we have a new COVID cases situation, the people would be socialized, and also people would be protect their mental healthy on this second floor with this, as you see on this level. Means that this people can be socialized with harmonization nature. They will be contact with nature directly, even if they can stay self-isolated in any bed situation. And also people can be harmonized, can be socialized with another modules living peoples. This point was very important for this project. Sustainable, okay, but also important to create a livable space for people within any case of station. And so second floor is more flexible, means that we have a 3 or 4 option of design. One was for only social life. Second option was for living spaces. These images show all my speech, and you can see that ground floor is more private zone. People can live in there with our on their private life. But second floor, which is connect with the directly terrain, and so people can be socialized. Here, people can be stay in their own social space as self-isolated, but also with nature, and also within daylight. And I just want to say a little bit about construction methods, okay? Because peoples are waiting for this speech, I'm sure, because we have been receiving many questions that they have been worried about how this project are constructible. And as you see, these images we are used for exterior surfaces adaptive mold system, which every surface would take a shape with less error, with less mistake. And so this is the company, Nordland company, Adapa. And so we just find them from their own previous work of Future Museum in Dubai. And so we feel that this company will be realize our projects with less waste material, with the less mistake of aesthetically surfaces. And also, when we need to express this material, this very sustainable material, because how sustainable material we can save material means like it's very fast, it's really taking shape according to like exactly your design folder, and also affordable the material. And so this is our exterior material, but we have, okay, I can maybe a little bit mention about this point. Our surfaces, our Lemadu surfaces have three type of dimensional surfaces. One double curve adaptive, and other double curve adaptive mold, another size. And so we are, I try to show with these images that we are really flexible with this material, that they get shape according to what we want. And so we are able to get any shape without less mistake, with less waste material, less impact, less damage of the nature. And how these modules are work, and as you see, are these surfaces on the right side. We have four type of curve, and so each curve will be get the shape accordingly with this mold, adaptive mold machine. And so with this adaptive mold machine, when it's finalized, we can join them on site. But this is for exterior solution. If we need to go to exoskeleton, this is our main exoskeleton that provide a main carry of our modules. This exoskeleton will be printed by steel 3D printed technology. It's such a tricky point also we have, because with this project, currently we have been working with our another collaborator company. We have one tricky point is this shape will be take enormous time for steel 3D printer. And so we are thinking that, okay, we maybe won't be print all skeleton, but at least maybe we could be choose one of 3 skeleton to print it. This is only option. Because at the same time, as designers and architects, we have been making brainstorming to solve all problems at the same time within these projects. And it also helped us to improve our capability, and we have been improving our knowledge, and we have been learning new techniques when we are work some a project like exosteel. And so it will be, as you see in this project, this is how workflow of the steel 3D printer. We will have a design file, and after they will be analyzed, print feasibility with the data. Engineers will be check if our surface are available or not available. Like, it's all our very, very hard work to get on this stage. And so we are currently still working on these projects. And so this is the backside of the projects. I just want to share very, very important things with these images. For example, people are ask that why there is openness on this on the middle surfaces. Firstly, as you see on these images, it looks like a mother stomach, like a mother. A top is like a like we are trying to give this sensibility for this model. But when you look at the technically side, this openness is let to wind enter into this building, because when you look at environmental condition of Orani, Sardinia was very, very windy in every day. Okay, if we have to design some project according to environmental conditions also, and so this project, these modules should be stand strongly, should be get in touch strongly with the terrain. But at the same time, we have one reality that environmental conditions are very hard. Okay, we are decided to make an open void in middle of module. It led us to pass through the wind. This is why we design in front side and the back side, as you see on these images. On these images show to you. This one, for example, as you see on there's a big openness because need to let wind throughout on this building to stay to carry on stability of the building. At the same time, we have here energy tower. That's one of most important point of this project. How this project provide its own energy. This energy tower, this is 360-degree turnable wind turbine, and also covered by solar panel, would be provide to gets electric energy from top of this design. And at the same time, this design get in touch directly. I can express with this section. It's much more better with this section. This is our energy tower, and we are provide wind and solar energy from top of our circle, and this energy will be come through directly. This energy will transfer to the base area, and after, if there are so much energy, this energy towers will be provide electricity like electric energy to Orani city, and it's a totally self-sustained project, and it will be provide its own system, its own energy by itself. My presentation is getting end with this project, and I hope it will be useful to everyone. Hello. Okay, when someone come to there, I can maybe a little bit mention about OSI system. OSI system, which is designed for cooling station to create cooling and environmental condition for Middle East. And so with this a project, our main aim is provide livable other comfort conditions for Abu Dhabi citizens. Because as we know that, as I am sure some of person who is already experienced that Middle East environmental conditions are very strong and very hard to carry on your daily routine life at outdoor space. But we are in a human, and we are not able to live in this close area. Always we have to be get integrated with the nature, with the other spaces. And so after, with this competition opportunity that we received, and we decided to create such a canopy which is inspired by palm trees as iconic mention of Middle East. And we are think that why don't we integrate existing traditional cooling mist cooling system with this project. And after, we are start to study to for on module. With this one on module, we are integrate cooling system within this canopy. At the same time, the most important things is that these canopies are integrated for any kind of site, with any dimension, with any scale, and in everywhere of Middle East. And so at the same time, with this under canopy, you are able to design and give the function according to according to your needs. And we, according to the program of the competition, we are offer to design social space for the people. And at the same time, I just want to express very important things is these modules are able to give a response as bar, as a social area, as a workspace area, as also children work play area. And these modules are work as individually and also work within this group. And most important things is this page for us, because we, at the same time, we are design. Projects should be modular, appendable, growable, and get in solution in the concept design process. Hello.
Hi, Uznur.
I
Yes, we are intently
am
listening to you.
sorry, I am not sure if I am able to continue. Normally, I want to finish my presentation with the exhaustive, and so, but I am not sure about our timeline. Maybe we don't have so much time, and I want to give the time for our another
This
collager
panelist. Yeah, exactly.
panelist.
Absolutely. We as much as we've heard, it has been really inspiring. But
Yeah.
yes, we would absolutely like you to maybe draw inspiration out of your presentations and talk about when we are actually in the discussion. So
See,
yeah, right. So on that note, definitely I would like to invite Monish on the dais, and we would like to ask him to give like a very quick introduction and presentation of his work, so that we can eventually get on with the panel discussion. So please, Monish, take up stage, and yes, let's hear you.
Thanks, Vinita. I think definitely very inspiring presentation that we just saw, and happy to see all the amazing work that's happening. So today I'll be talking about two projects. One is a one, I think the brief in here is about nostalgia. The client wanted something that is absolutely stunning and modern, but at the same time should be very nostalgic in approach. And the other one is an extreme opposite thing. I mean, both are presented in Indian context, but the other one is futuristic, wherein the client brief is to go something, I mean, he comes from a aero manufacturing background, and he wanted a building to represent what he does in it. And with access to all these advanced tools at his disposal, he wanted to go something very futuristic. So, yes, I mean, we thought, is my slides visible? All right, I'm assuming yes. So nostalgia, like I said, is the what we were trying to solve when we spoke about the first one. So when we represented these images to the client, when he said he wanted something his building to be nostalgic, so this is something that really comes to our mind when we talk about Indian context, wherein with traditional courtyard spaces with beautiful terracotta roofs and verandas and wood, especially if you look at the material, and also all these natural materials that you kind of find in Indian buildings and spaces. So this is what we actually wanted when we put all of these things together. The whole idea is that for the building, it should represent this so that he can go back in time and then relive the moments. And one of the most interesting things that he also mentioned is that he wanted his grandchildren to learn about the past. I think that's something that was actually very wonderful that we heard from the client. So we came up with this form that is absolutely, you can say, fluid and parametric, and which I'm sure it would have been like very time consuming for us to do without the help of technology. But if you notice below, what's happening in this is that you see this undulating rock that is actually on the bottom. So when we speak about technology in this, I really want to talk about how not just the building and the form and what we're trying to do, but it's also very important to understand the ecology of the material, like the site, and also how technology can actually play a role in helping us learn more about the surrounding environment and landscape. So the site location is this in Hyderabad. If you notice, there's a beautiful site on the left-hand side with the lake in there, and this is completely this is a main road. What you see over there, access, and I won't delve too much into the to the site, but these are some of the proposed projects at different plots, and a five-star hotel coming right below this. This is the site. But then this is not what it was over time. And then when we actually looked at the past of how the site kind of evolved, the lake was actually much behind. It was like, the lake line was something way beyond. And then in this case, this is just 20 years back, approximately into 2003, this is what the site was. And then they started building this road and access to connect the highway from the airport to Gachibowli. You can see that how there is a change in the landscape. And you can see, I mean, surprisingly, the lake started growing, and you'll start identifying this, that there are these beautiful patches of lake and water that are starting to grow which is a beautiful, like actually a very positive site for the site. And this is what it is just 2 years back. What you can see that there's a lot of green, and the lake footprint has actually increased, and all that. And then, so this was my first site visit. This is what actually client gave us, which was totally probably an inadequate information for a site. What I'm going to show you now, this is the site. You can see this massive boulders on this in the corner, and this is what the site is full of rocks and beautiful boulders. You can see, I mean, the scale of this is really magnificent. You can see this line, which was what the client originally intended to build on this, above this. So this is a rocky site, and one amazing thing about the site is when you stand on the edge of the site, you don't see this highway. This highway disappears, and what you see is, I'll just show you the footprint. Like I said, there's a beautiful lake, and what you will not see over there is the road at all. And this is what, like I said, this is the first thing that we saw when we been to the site. And there's another short video that shows the, like I said, you don't really see the highway at all. That's the beauty. I mean, how this is where the highway is actually running, and what you see is this beautiful lake in the front. So, uh, so when we started, I mean, even before we made a sketch or any design on paper, what I told the client, this is just after my first visit to the site, I requested the client that, I think there is so much more than that actually meets the eye. And I requested the client to scoop out the complete land and unearth these rocks so that we can actually know what is below them. So the whole idea is, rather than going upwards in the building, what if we first understand what is below? And we got this site entirely cleaned up, exposing the rocks that are out there, so that when I actually can actually see what if we can use these rocks as part of the landscape inside the building, how we can actually use, we documented with the help of these, so the rocks using the drones. And we have these little boulders that are actually scooped out to make the road. So the whole idea is also how we can use this material for the construction eventually. And yeah, so this is what I think it'll go forward. So like I said, I mean, this is where the site is sitting with this on this tall boulders. I'll just jump into the design. So when we started, like, I think this is where things got really interesting, because for such an spectacular site, I mean, what was really important for us is to understand it. So, I mean, for us to actually make justice to the rocks, we went about, we did a 3D scanning for the first time. What we got like photogrammetry to take what is physical into digital medium, so that we can like carefully carve out around the rock, so that we are not actually tampering with the ecology. So the whole idea is that, like I said, even before we started with the design process, we started with scanning it so that we can get the precise coordinates of each and every rock. Because we, I think when we presented this idea to the client that let's not do anything to the rocks at all and try and actually like protect them as much as we can, because this is, unfortunately, if you guys are familiar with the landscape of Hyderabad, this is a very common sight. And everywhere what is happening is that we end up seeing this, what do you say, like people either cut the rocks or actually build on top of it without really giving importance much to the rocks that are below. So these are some of the initial explorations to build around the rocks, and finally we landed on this, wherein we said, okay, there are these two beautiful rocks on the site, and what if we design a building like a split in between? And then this is what we came up with. Like I said right at the beginning of the presentation, that the whole idea is to, like, what the client really wanted is a traditional building. I mean, when it comes to the material and the feel, the look and feel of it, and at the same time to have something that is really contemporary in approach. So, like taking clues from all the traditional Indian architecture and the materials and all of it, with the purlins and the rafters, and he wanted a lot of wood in the construction. So we went about designing these mushroom columns that will be visible from the landscape on the ground floor, which we kind of made it like an open rock landscape in the living room. It's like an open landscape on the ground floor, and went about designing the building using this like slopes that can actually, use this traditional caprail, what we call as the country tiles for the construction. And right on the top, there is a split in the building, which can allow the light to come in, penetrate in between. And finally we have this roof that sits on top of this. So there's a lot of optimization that we have done to arrive here before, like, so that the entire curvature of the roof can actually, I mean, there's a lot of optimization that went in so that the traditional tiles that we use can actually fit on top of this form. So that was really important for the so that for the feasibility of the project. So this is what you finally see, which is like the whole building elevated and with this, like, I will not get too much into the planning part of it, but more in the like this. So there is this split level with a staircase. We have divided the building at two different levels so that we can, there is this narrative that follows like at a mid level in as we walk in, and also the building kind of like opens up. So the entire living in the front gets the view of the landscape. And yes, I mean, this is the ground floor living room, bringing the rocks as is into the living spaces so that we don't have to cut them. So these are some of the living spaces on the ground floor. And yeah, I mean, and whatever recesses that we created, we wanted to channelize and collect rainwater using this natural slope so that we can create a natural the water reservoir for irrigation on the landscape in the building. So yeah, this is the about the first project where I said like, where we wanted it to kind of talk about nostalgia of like the traditional spaces, but at the same time the use of computational tools to arrive that end. So I think there's not much, maybe just a few other images to talk about, and there is like little details here and there. But I think like finally this is what the building looks like sitting on the boulders, wherein as if it's coming out, opening to the lake in the front. So maybe if there's anything about the planning, I can take it in the questions. And I'll quickly move to the second project, which is a roller coaster, both in form and also in the process so far. I mean, it was kind of a different kind of an experience to blow me down in this presentation. That's okay. So yeah, so in here, I mean, the site faces a golf course, and the on what you see is actually a view taken from the golf course, which is behind from the back side of the project. And the brief of the client is that he wanted the parking or the drop off to be on the first floor. So you actually climb up like a ramp that goes in, and there is this like a landscape. So there is this form that is kind of free flowing. And one very interesting thing in this building, what we try doing is that the overall all the spaces are actually fluidic, including the floor plates, and not just the form, but also there is a lot of this fluidity in the floors as well. Of course, there are a lot of areas that are flat for the furniture and all of it, but a lot of circulation around, and everything is carved out in a manner that one can freely move up from one space to another, like walkable surfaces. I'll go more into that in at a later stage. So, like I said, this is the beautiful view one gets from the this where the project sits, and this is a site which is a three-side open site facing the golf course with a water body and all that. So the idea is how we can actually get this maximum experience from all the rooms so that one can, I mean, whatever we are trying to do, it becomes experience from, I mean, the client can actually draw experience from multiple areas. So this is a site. I will not linger too much on the images, but yes. So when we started with the first design process, like I said, we wanted it to be drawing this spaces where how each and every space can actually turn in a fluidic manner and how we can actually connect them from one space to another without really. So these were some of the initial explorations and sketches, how we can connect these spaces. And what you see, these circles are basically courtyards. We wanted this like lingering courtyards in between and how we can actually try and connect them so that one space in between, there are these beautiful open courts coming inside the building, and initial facade explorations, what we wanted the building to look like, and so on. And yes, and then like, we definitely explored a lot about the rheotomic surfaces, because we actually did not want, I mean, we wanted the spaces to be as fluidic as possible, but then finally we went about without actually using the rheotomic surfaces, but the essence of it, in which how we can, like, the floor spaces can be walkable from one end to another. So this is the final design, what you see. So we have this anchor in the middle, which becomes like a home theater, and there is a ramp that actually runs on top to the lower basement, and then there is entire central space that is kind of, when somebody enters into the project, this is the entry, and then what you see is that like a beautiful drape, the facade, that kind of, as if you lifted this louvers, and the entry is kind of formed inside that, like you can say you are entering like a curtain that actually lifted up, and these beautiful rocks that you can see on the in this corner. And another challenge that we actually found on the site is that this site is lower than the golf course site. So the whole building kind of like what it does along the curvature is also that the person as he walks into the space he starts climbing on this the smooth ramp to arrive at the living spaces. So like as you can see again there are this there's the ramp from behind that actually climbs to the first floor to reach the parking and the drop off. So there are actually two entries, and one is like a pedestrian kind of an entry on the ground floor, but the main entry with the parking and everything is on the first floor. And we have this supports, column supports for the structure. And here, I think this is where the whole floor space and everything gets really interesting, because as you can see that the whole floor also starts to become curvy, and it was quite a challenge because we had to make sure that the functions are pretty much you can say functional so that accessible, and with the pool and all this, I mean different spaces as they're stepping up, and at the same time like I mean we could not compromise on the functionality of the spaces, and the form kind of revolves and then opens up towards the lake, so that every room, even the room that is, the idea is that a room even which is towards the front end also gets the view of the golf course from the backs. So that was the whole idea, that with this cutout and everything, that even a person who's actually taking a room in the front can see the glimpses of the golf course. And this entire ring, what you see, gets this beautiful view, uninterrupted, unhindered, of the site. So this is what finally what we have. So this area, what you see in the middle, is the curvy part. But when you enter, like this is what actually keeps moving and shuffling between the spaces. There's also like a courtyard that takes all the way from the top to the basement, to the second basement. This cutout that draws the light all the way from, like I said, from the spiraling form on the top all the way to the second basement, which has a home theater, and the informal area and everything opens towards the golf course, and so on. And so yeah, this is the how the entrance is. As you can see, right when you enter, the idea is that when someone enters, he can straight get the view of the golf course on the backside. So you can see that right here. When you enter, you see this form that is like slowly climbing up, but the experience is that it actually one can get the view all the way to the golf course. And yeah, this is a section through the building. You enter on the ground floor. There is the spiraling thing that goes down, and the skylight goes all the way till the home theater on the ground floor, on the second basement. And like I said, there is a sandwich of landscape at the first floor level that connects both these blocks. So the whole first floor is actually designed like a what do you say, a common space for these spaces to actually connect. And this is where the drop off is happening on the first with the dropping area and all that. Some images from the first floor area. Yes, another isometric that shows how the spiraling thing is kind of connecting everything, and at the same time without really compromising on the functionalities, and how one can see how the spaces are evolving. And so I would like to conclude my presentation by saying that I think since I mean we are here discussing about what technology can do, I think especially in Indian context wherein we are really obsessed about, we should be, I mean, definitely obsessed about a context and what this is there. But then we do get different challenges from different clients. One, like I said, fortunately in this case, it allowed us a lot of experimentation for us to do when it comes to technology and the how the forms and everything can be evolved using like this thing. Whereas the previous example where I'm talking about, which is very much driven by the traditional architecture, especially that is relevant to India. But at the same time, how technology can also help us in even breaking that mold and trying to push the boundaries so that we can do something with the traditional forms, but not trying to replicate what was already there, but in a slightly bit more, what do you say, like innovative manner. And yes.
Okay, Monish, thank you so much. I mean, the both the structures, as usual, of course, it's totally something that you cannot expect out of an Indian residence to look like, but absolutely looks something very interesting. And I wish I like instead of being on this side of the screen, I was probably in the house or something. I think that would have been a much more interesting experience. Okay. Great. So now that we are, we have gotten to know what your work is about, what both of you kind of believe in through your work, let's dig a little deeper and actually try to figure out the topic at hand that we have. Repeating it, that is technology and enabler in changing the fabric of architecture. So to just spark up the conversation and begin, of course, this whole discussion. So basically, we all know that technology and design or architectural design have always had a very precarious relationship. Some have believed that one should supersede the other, while some have, of course, believed in the hand in hand process. And with each day and each year and time that we pass, all we get to see is more and more dependency as architects and normal people for that matter on any type of available technology, because things are faster that way. Things are somewhere economically also sometimes a little more beneficial that way. But uh, this relationship, this increasing dependency, what is it doing? Is it enabling us, or is it actually taking a part away or not? So that is the whole thing that we will be discussing about. So bringing back to my question, that the first question that I would definitely like to throw to both our panelists, and anybody can feel free to jump in and answer, that we have been discussing actually. So with the amount of entanglement, if I may call, the mixing of art, architecture, and technology that has been happening, uh, do you think that there is any part that we are missing out on, or in the sense that, uh, of course, while we think that it is enabling us, is, would you call it a boon or a curse? As in, are we moving away a bit from the humane factor of it, or are we actually moving more closer? Anybody who would like to take it up?
I give Monish.
No, I mean definitely, Benita. It is an enabler in my opinion because see, I think when you look at the works, especially in India, I mean there's a massive shift right now, and it is no more something. I was listening to some of the other speakers, and it is not future anymore. It's already here. We are doing it, and when it comes to this technology. And then when you compare even the kind of works that are being done in today's date, there was a time when in the name of parametric architecture or anything, I mean, I don't want to coin the term, use the term, but in the name of technology, you'll see this random triangles and crazy forms, maybe like, it was very much relevant only to the skin, the aesthetics of the building. And it's like you can do a box, but then you can make these crazy forms and you just stick it on top of that, the facades and everything, right? It was only like stuck at the facade. But then I think now when you say technology, I think we are able to understand the buildings from the perspective of energy, simulation, sustainability. When you're talking about how the performance of the building, we are not at like so far just limited to the skin or the aesthetics of the building. We're talking about the form. We're talking about the functionality altogether, and the many branches. I think it's not just about the beauty and the aesthetics anymore. So there is so much that like computational tools and parametrics can do that now. Like we're talking about the carbon footprint, and that actually it's becoming like I mean, a very important subject altogether, wherein we are able to measure the performance and the footprint of a building. So I don't think it's a. I think it's all at the end. I think it all depends on how we use the tools and what are the values. But I think the more and more people are able to grasp it, I think it's better because then we can go deep into the problem, not just the like uh, just the like shell. So I don't think it's a curse at all.
Okay, Osnur, I would, yeah, like to bring you into this
That's my
conversation. So
topic.
yeah, he presented the Indian front. I would like to ask you, on the international front, do you
Yeah,
believe that we are actually being enabled by technology and its vast advancement?
I think like it's firstly depends on from my side depends on what is your ideology. What is your ideology when you start a one project or what you want to do. Okay, this is first the question we have to ask before we start design, because technology is not enough if you are not able to create a usable space, if you are not able to uh, design well or thinking how can I say, thinking a person's how they are live in this space. Technology is not enough. I am not support. that use only grasshopper to make some strange things. Okay, from, for example, my side, everything start with the white paper. Even if we live in this technology, if we lost our hands with with integration with the mind, we are not able to do finalize a good design, because everything is link each other. We need each other. For example, we need technology, we need art, we need architecture, we need design, but we need also good mind. We need also a thing like human sense. Okay, for example, we are always say this: our mission is, before be good designer and architect, is be good human. Because this is my thesis, I believe that if you are try to be good human, you are a more aware of your around. You are start to think about how people have to live. You try to think a solution who needs to you. And before this sensation, we are not able to create a good design, and a good design for the world. We are not able to do nothing. Sensation very important. Sensation, like human sensation, very important. And after this, yes, you can put your knowledge. You can put your talent. You can create your own ideology with integration, sustainability, eco-friendly, awareness of the environment, uh, buildings or design. And after you can let technology, you can let the technology can help you. But when you need it, for example, we are not give design for technology, because we are, as mask artists, we are control all design. First, we are take all our design decision with this mind, with this hand, and after we are use a technology to make them in computer program. And after if you know what you want to do, you can use technology very well on the right point. Okay, this is very important. Instead of you lose yourself in within this technology, if you want to create some strange things, we are saying with Danilo, with strange things without any meaningful, without any mind, with only they try to do something like gaming designs, but it doesn't have sense. It doesn't have sense. Like design, briefly, normally I want to talk a lot about this point, but design should be integrated with the all of fields: human sense, art, architecture, design, technology, science, like everything. This is how design would be better. Without any missing, it's impossible to be
So
make a good
very
design.
promptly, what Uznur has said actually kind of directs to what I was going to approach as the next thing. So, like what you're talking about is what I feel that there is art, there is architecture, there is inspirations, there is the human mind, like you said, and there's the white paper, and there is technology, of course. So I'm guessing a lot of young architects or people who are just really fascinated with all the new gizmos that you can use to create structures and how cool they look, using the millennial terms. So how would you suggest that they balance it out? How do we balance the technology with the rest of it? I
Because
think it was more.
technology, they have to be enjoy with the design. Okay, they have to be how people will be enjoy with design. If there is some problem with technology, you can find a solution, but first you have to find a problem. Okay, with this design ideology. And so if they don't enjoy, if they don't find any solution, if the design doesn't let them to think about for the next step, it's the wrong direction. Because we are getting inspiration from problems. Daniela and I love find solution, because when we are facing problem and the difficulties on the project, we are getting more enjoy, because we love to use our brain instead of the give this task to technology and technology solve it. This technology doesn't have mind. Technology, artificial intelligence, You can give them direction, okay, but this is very tricky. I recommend person, they don't give their talent, ability to technology. They start to use their mind, and after they can start to use technology. This is very tricky point. Even if we are in the center of technology, we are very open minded. We are also designing the feature like metaverse or something. Okay, we are also trying to find the new technology for the new construction method for the future, but we are never give our ability to uh, programs. We are manage them. They don't manage our mind. This is very
Right,
important point. Very
right.
important
So
point.
bringing
And
Monish
after
also in.
students, doesn't use their mind and they don't have self confidence. They will always need to technology, need to computer program, and after without this, they will feel their service nothing. Very important point this in this balance.
Right. So bringing Monish again into the picture. So Monish, do you agree with Oznur in the fact of how, or and what is your take? How would you suggest to any, not only young architects, maybe peers or anybody, that how does one person achieve, or how should we achieve a balance between technology and all the other parameters that we have at hand?
No, I think like I totally align with what Oznur had just mentioned that, I mean, it's all ultimately what's the problem that we are trying to solve. And I think that should be the starting basis for anything that we do, including client's brief. I mean, when you speak about architecture, we're only talking about a particular client. But I think what can happen is that with the help of other tools that we have, we can probably strike a balance between not every client comes to us and say, okay, we want it to be environmentally conscious. In fact, very least, number of clients come and say, okay, do something for the environment. I think it's the value system that we set in as, and how what we think the technology can try and kind of solve, kind of enables that, like it becomes an enabler in that manner that, this is what, okay, we are trying to build a house, but at the same time, we can actually try and cut down on the emissions, or we can try and cut down on the like air conditioning loads and create thermal comfort using using what you say analysis, airflows. You can use those kind of optimization tools and analysis even to design, not just like I said. So ultimately, it's very what's important for any designer is to understand that, okay, what is the end goal? Is it just form or is it something beyond? And how we can actually, so if that is set, that this is what we, so and then you will start even picking the right tools, because the answer might not be always the same tool for everyone. So I think even in the teaching, the studio that we do, while I think as a studio we try and tell our students that, okay, this is what probably these are all the tools that are there. I think it's our role to expose them to different possibilities, but not to tell them that, okay, this is the ultimate tool. You don't, not everybody needs to become an expert in grasshopper. There are so many other verticals that are there that can actually pick and take it forward. It could be BIM, it could be, I mean, there are like hundreds of tools that are there. So we should not, I think, idealize one particular tool or technology. I think rather focus on just for the students and peers, like you asked Benita, that rather expose them to the possibilities and then let them pick or let them take it from there. Yes.
So what I gathered out of what both Oznur and Monish want to say is, guys, like just telling the audience that pick your tools very carefully. Don't, like Oznur said, don't lose your mind over software and technology. Rather, the main aim is to, I think, solve problems that are affecting, I mean, or even are a part of our human society. And actually, like like again, Oznur very promptly put it, it's about being a better human being through being a good architect as well. So now, diverging the thing into a little more current scenarios. So the pandemic, like again also had stated during her presentation, is that it was, I think, one of the biggest examples of how technology has penetrated into our system also, because we were all, virtually isolated. I mean, we were physically isolated, but virtually we had to be connected because of work, personal, touches and everything. So there was if we talk about the architecture community and how offices were operated at that particular time, there was a segment of architects who believed that productivity increased because we had the help of technology, and we could talk to all of our we could even bring up people from other parts of the world and connect with them and work on projects. Whereas there was a range of architects who believed that no, architecture discussions or proposals have to be discussed with something on paper. It's not something that you can just do it over a screen. So yeah, what is your take on it? Do you feel this whole virtual work for architecture is something that goes by, or you are totally pro it, or I don't know, are you not really pro it?
Monish can start because I start before. Now I can
Okay.
give
Oh, how
answer
sweet,
you,
how
Monish.
polite. Okay.
So no, I think definitely, Vinita, we are still working online. So I'm a pro, so I can say that. But see, there are certain restrictions, and which we're trying to innovate around. I mean, because working online has its both advantages and disadvantages. The pro being that you can save a lot of time in travel and commute, especially because we have a team that some of these guys have to travel 2 hours per day, and they have to come to the studio and go back. So they spend 4 hours in traffic. I'm not kidding. 4 hours in Delhi traffic per day. It's torture. I think
I've lived
it's
there, I know. Yeah, I know it's
and
torture.
it's torture. So I think so definitely a hybrid system wherein we are trying to innovate in, wherein we are bringing in people for design charades and design discussion, so that we all come together, try out these systems wherein we discuss ideas and everything, so they can go back to their workstations and actually produce, and then meet in once in a while, because the kind of interaction one also has with this physical, it's irreplaceable. I mean, it is something that is absolutely necessary and important. So there is no doubt about it. But then we can use, like I said, the virtual, what we learned probably 2 years before. If somebody said to me that, we'll work online, I would have looked at them thinking that he's not going to work. He's definitely not going to, he's not serious. So, but now I think that has changed. I think we all started trusting each other better. And so, yeah, I think there are ways we can work both ways.
So, Osnoor, do you
And
agree?
yes, I'm totally agree with Monish, but my perspective will be different because I just want to share a little bit our experience when we were in COVID cases and what we have done as mask architects. In 2 years ago, I was in Germany, Frankfurt, when COVID cases was exploded, was very strictly. And after, Danilo and I have read a one news from Italy newspaper, and so we just noticed that amount of dead people in Italy getting over, and so because lack of oxygenation. And so, with this news, we stopped to make architecture. We start to use our capability to save the world. We just start to use our capability to create a new invention to protect the people. And after we are get our paper, we are start to think, problem is lack of oxygenation. Okay, what could we do as architects and designer in COVID cases? As architect and designer, do we have to continue to make architectural and design work to work for only client, or people need our capability to save their world, to save their life? After we are design medical apparatus, which is a create like split double channel for one oxygen machine. And after we are published this on the WordPress, we say this project was we just a design as universally, and this apparatus will have oxygen machine that people can use at the same time as the two person instead of one person. But this design came from problem. And in the same time, we are publish this as the WordPress. We say that we are architect and designer, but our role is not only provide service for clients. We try to give the message. We try to open our community's mind. We are able to design everything that when the people need us. And so with this project, we after our project, the architects start to design some cabin, like some another design projects. Okay, like sometimes need to do some kind of behaviors to give some salt, some heat to the people. Okay, and so I try to say this: we are architect, designer, but we are not only design building, right, Monish? We can use
Yes,
our
yes, definitely.
capability to say, for this is where I come from, for example, to be good human, because you are awareness of your environment. This is very important. We are design community for the human, and so we are should be awareness of the people we have to follow. We have to watch. We have to watch how they use this space, what they need. Okay, we have to be awareness of the world, of the problem, everything. And after you are try to open your mind, you are start to use your capability for also pull people. Okay, and so this is important point for this kind of problem. Now we are faced this problem. Yes, we are overcome, but technology doesn't help 100% in the same time. Like sometimes we are see this technology doesn't enough. For example, technology doesn't save the people. We are living in 2020, but million people die. And so at the same time, yes, we have to protect ourselves, but we have to be also ready for emergency situations, such as exoskeleton that we design, isolate, how can I say, like self-isolated zone. Okay. In the same period, people lost their mind also, right, Monish? They are living one room maybe without
Yes.
connection with the green. Okay, because I experience all them and I see all them. And I was lucky because I was living in Germany, which is surrounded by forest. I find for myself space in forest. I'm every day I just will go to forest. But if people doesn't have kind of opportunity, they lost their mind in one room house, for example. Okay, and so very important to design space for also future requirements. Maybe one lights, sunlight very important. Sunlight is how can I say um, a requirement for mental health. Without sun, people are very unhealthy. At least we can design a building with with the getting more sun. Okay, people, we have to let the people to see outside. You know, because I see very interesting design in this period without lights. Building doesn't have lights. Like this point, I can say about my speech, but I hope it would be useful.
Right. So that's basically like that's what we understood, I guess, that apart from the fact that we did kind of become more pro technology in the global pandemic, it is important, like Osnur stated, to actually be aware of your surroundings are, and again, establish your capabilities, and I think bring it forward there. Monish, I think, do you have something to add on to that?
No, I think definitely. I mean, like what Oz said is really true that one has to. We as a species, I think we have been like we are very good at finding solutions to problems, and our
Yeah.
adaptability to like problems that are thrown at us to like has been definitely. I mean, that's the reason why we survived as intelligent species. So no doubt about it. I think, but now we have an additional task of being also nice to the environment, not just to ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think it's time that we should be more like that's where I think the eco-friendly the word comes is that okay it's not just us we should also be friendly we like to the environment. So yes, I'm totally in sync with what was just said. Yes.
Right. So now again, bringing a term into this discussion, which was actually roaming around a lot of news channels and social media for quite some time now, that is crypto. Virtual money or whatever spaces or whatever you would like to call it, or metaverse for that matter. There were like discussions and a lot of discussions going around it. So what I want to ask is this, the crypto tokens or NFTs that have come across, wherein you can be owners, or, you can be, you can actually be possessors of land which is on a virtual, landscape. So with these sort of plots or tokens coming into the picture, do you feel it has actually, I don't know, given a boost to the creative power of architects and designers, or has it just been the same? Uh,
I think, for example, currently we also have been busy with this point because we really love to follow technology, and even if might might be useful, but we have to try, we have to enter, and we have to see. And so, but my idea is currently is how can I say, it's not secure in this moment, but it's the future. This is reality because the future will be in virtual reality. Maybe 100 years later, we don't know. But we have a really good opportunity for this point. For example, at this moment, if we have a client and we can use our the building, we can put in the Web3 with some collaborator companies, and we can let our client experience with virtual reality with full of design. This is good opportunity, but we don't forget that this is for the future. This is reality, and so we have to start from the one point. Currently, we have been designing a new world for Gamium, which are collaborator, and but the process is not ongoing very fast because it's still under development, and so at this time we are not able to say that this is right direction, this is not right direction, but we have to follow and experience it, and we will see.
Monish, for you, I would like to just tweak the question a little bit, because in India, I don't think this. I mean, of course, we have heard about it in the news and everything, but it has not really percolated still. But again, knowing you from for quite some time, I know that you are a real big. You love new challenges and new things coming into the picture. So let's bring up a scenario wherein supposing somebody actually does approach a project like this to you, wherein they have a segment where they have bought on some, they are developing the next level Miami is what they say on the virtual. That's the first city apparently that it's being made. So let's say this sort of a opportunity does strike on your door. What would be different then? I mean, in your imagination or in your thought process, according to your experience, what would be different than actually designing on ground? Or what different would you do that you don't get to do or you don't do on ground?
Actually, this happened, Vinita. This, what you're saying, let's imagine it actually happened that people have reached out to design something in the virtual space. In fact, me and a very dear friend of mine, we were even planning to take a studio, uh, like revolving around the metaverse at SPA, wherein we wanted to like explore that as a medium at academic level and see how you can actually push the boundaries. I mean, if you ask me personally, I'm not a huge fan of like a virtual space. I mean, that's my personal, like as a individual, nothing to do with the technology. I can't really. I mean, if you talk to me about a 3D movie with glasses, I find it really uncomfortable. Like so, for me to be in a virtual space, I'm not a huge fan of gamer, but I like technology. So I really like exploring things, but I'm not, because I cannot sit in a theater wearing glasses for 3 hours. Like so, for me, that's a no, big no right there. But we did explore the technology, and for instance, for the Lucknow project, in fact, we convinced the client to convert this into a space that he can go into virtual world and experience it himself before even building, because that's going to be such a huge investment with all the spaces that are curving around and all of it. The whole idea is that as a medium, it can, even in Indian context, that before making such a huge investment in real, and why, I mean, this can actually become a channel for designers to test their spaces. So there is that possibility, like I mean, what we are discussing here. And but in fact, I think looking at technology, I mean, not NFTs and especially metaverse, but if you look at the mid journey, I think that has actually becoming a very important tool. In fact, recently we had to present a landscape presentation for like a heavy, like big urban design project, and we all the mood boarding and everything we gave is from text to image. We did not use any images from the Pinterest. We converted that into this, and we actually gave that as a design, like ideation, saying that this is what could be. as actually, so that it's already changing. So I mean, what I'm saying is that while I'm so things are already happening here. So I mean, these tools can actually assist us in design, definitely yes, and also visualizing. But to live in metaverse, I really don't. I'm not sure.
I just want to add one thing, for example, like from a positive side, some of designers are just realize some concept buildings. It's such an opportunity for them, also for us. We have some of projects that never realized, and so we, for example, give this experience to the user with this metaverse world, for example. And so instead to keep them in some folder, we can let the people experience it within this metaverse. This is will be also another opportunity, like.
Absolutely, yes,
So as
absolutely.
much as the submission is what like there is opportunity obviously, but it is too soon to tell. And I think only time will actually be able to narrate specifically that whether we are able to make this a reality. Of course it will be a reality, but whether we are able to sustain and actually thrive in it or not. So,
No, but there is also
nonetheless,
another possibility, Vinitha. But I'll just
yeah,
like to add something here.
yeah,
It's not just for virtual spaces and also fiction. It's also an important medium for even past. For example, we like closely associated with this design by design, this exhibition that happens over here, where it brings together a lot of artists and designers to do. And then it can also become a medium to record in virtual space, so that people can go back in time and access that spaces which are temporal. You can actually make them permanent in a virtual space. So in a metaverse, it can also become like a library of like spaces that are only like temporary. It could be, so that's also possible. So there's a tremendous opportunity there. So that if you missed a, let's say, I'm traveling, I missed like a design exhibition in what do you say, in Delhi, and then I can always travel and say, okay, I could not, but I can go back in time and see.
visited in
So it's,
metaverse.
yeah, it's like Harry
Yeah.
Potter recording the dreams and
we can
memories.
we can we can meet them in this zone,
I know, right?
Exactly.
I
it's a
mean,
really
yeah,
very good
if this was,
opportunity for future, but it's still ongoing, it's still improving,
Yes. It
with
is still
the
improving.
user
Yes.
experience, because they need us.
right, makes
Yes.
sense. So again, coming back from the virtual technology to hand technology or whatever we would like to go, technology that we still have right now. So we cannot disagree to the fact that there are a lot of, if I talk about student crowd, young architects, peer architects, who are still very, let me, if I call them hands-on paper person, they prefer that over the screen, you know. So my question is, what would be your message, or some, what is it that should they understand, like in the sense, should we have to tell them that is it imperative for people like this, is it absolutely important for such people to actually cope up with the technology and learn softwares or anything and start designing on those, and actually lose touch a little bit of the pen and paper? Or I don't know, is it okay to still be an old school designer or creative person?
School is not enough. School is not enough. For example, my experience is, Daniel and I have been every day watching tutorial. Every day we have been improving our design capability, also technology. And so school is not enough. After school, everything will be start, because human, like our discipline is not enough to get theoretical things from school, because we need to make practical works. So with these practical works, we have to learn how we can design with our minds, and when we have to use the technology, which time. And technology is very useful, very neat to make your design, as for construction methods, for also sustainable construction methodology. But important things to know when you need to use this. And I recommend students that, for example, they can join competitions, international competitions, and this international competition will be opportunity to them to improve their capability, because with this design decision, with their design decision, with the paper, they have to use technology. And so they can watch tutorial, uh, they can try to learn by himself, herself. For example, I always learn by myself with all technology tools because need to be also curious, need to also be interested with this point. But important things to also which point you want to do. For example, you want to be academician, you want to be designer, you want to be architect, or you want to be design all. All normal start from the first point, and after, if people know that what they want, they can be find very well way to improve their design capability.
Right. Monish, like I know personally that your studio you have a wide variety of people working, right? You have somebody who's just making models, or some. I mean, everybody has a different talent. Is what I want to say. So for people of a creative architects, who are or trainee architects, students, whatever you want to call them, who are actually creative and they have great ideas, just not techie, something like that, maybe not the software kinds. So what would you like to tell them, and like what is that they should do to cope up with this sort of a scenario that we are in?
So, Benita, I mean, technology is like growing really, really fast, and it's not
Exactly.
even with everything that we have right now. One lifetime is not enough to learn everything. It's not possible, and there is so much happening every day. You come up with new tools. So, it starts with a sketch and an idea and visualization. So, it's very important for any student, anyone. That's the starting point, and how far you can
Absolutely.
go with it, it's absolutely on the individual. How it starts with an idea or a sketch. Okay, so one should not let that go. If you want to become a computational designer, doesn't mean you start designing on Rhino, Grasshopper, and all of it. That's not possible. You have to. You need ideas and you need sketches to start with, and after that, like, you can pick your tools. It's like, you can pick your weapons based on your, like, if you are a designer that really believes in this organic free flow forms and everything, and you have to pick your tools accordingly. But if you're someone who is more inclined towards performance and, like, the how systems work and all of it, there's a different kind of technology for that. That's also technology. It's not just that what you do with crazy forms is technology, but not like if you're doing with the evaluation, that's not technology. Everything that you use a tool becomes a technology, even if it could be a hammer for that matter, is a tool. So, like, in the studio, what we try and do is, we start with any project, even with narrative. I think you know that pretty well, because we, like, actually ask the team to write, not just sketch. So you express your ideas, you visualize and everything, and then you start with that. So I think it's that first initial part of, like, romanticizing what students typically do in college. I think that's really important. That's the essence, and one can go depending on their appetite, how much they want to dive in. It's entirely depends on how deep they want to go into it. So yeah, so there's no end to it.
Without mind, without idea, technology doesn't work. Technology work, but without sense. Without sense, this project will be with another's. There will be no any highlights. No.
Yes.
So we all can absolutely, without a doubt, agree that yes, definitely technology is an enabler, but not the starting point. It is somewhere it comes after the idea generation. Technology enables it, does not create it. Is what I think that we are.
Yeah, that's the
So
right thing.
bringing
It's not a
Yeah.
creator but an
But
enabler.
human
Yes.
mind, technology, and human mind, technology together.
right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And like Kusnur said, that is artificial intelligence. This
Yeah.
is what is real intelligence. So, yes. So, bringing this whole, yeah, conversation to a very, end, a very positive end point. So, based on the trajectory that we are currently, and Uznur can probably cite an international level, and Monish, you can bring out the Indian viewpoint. Based on the level that we are at, where technology, architecture, art is concerned, what do you think, like if you have to paint a picture for us, what to you does the future look like? How does it look like to you? How does the relationship of architecture and technology look like to you?
I am scared about this point. Believe me, I'm very scared. I am sure, like, if I will be honest, okay, um, in the future, I don't see any people work like in the future. Maybe they will be robot architects. Like, I don't know, everything will be robotic.
I swear, I
Everything will
have
be
thought about
robotic.
the same thing.
Robotic age will become from my mind. Like, they won't be use human effort. If we are thinking about future, maybe this is, I don't know how much years there, but I see future like this, robotic age,
It's
Monish,
scary,
what about
definitely.
you?
Yeah,
Do
I
you
think it's
feel
both.
scared like us that
It's
we'll be
scary.
replaced by
It's
some
scary
robot?
and it's scary and also romantic at the same time. It's fascinating to see what technology can do, but definitely yes, robots have what do you say? Yes, the robot age is inevitable. You'll be seeing a lot of these robotic technologies and
Why
all of
don't
it. I
you
have
bring out
done
the romantic side of it? We heard about the scary bit. Now let's hear the romantic bit, maybe.
no. I
like ship
mean the
design,
more.
like.
Yes, I mean, like it's nice to see what kind of the pictures this the AI is painting. Like if you look at it, there is a generic sense of similarity between in all the spaces, especially what you can see on online in social media. That you'll see all of this. What kind of spaces are being generated, and hopefully, if like if I was just wondering, I mean, why is it just imagery? I mean, if the way I see it, if the technology grows even further, maybe we can ask even technology to do something more ecological with less amount of effort, maybe like that can keep a foot check on the carbon footprint and sustainability and all of that. So it's again like asking the right kind of questions to the AI, like rather than just asking it to deliver something that is like dystopian. You can also ask for utopian answers. So that ways it can be romantic if you ask the right questions. So let's see. I mean, let's hope for the best, but it's definitely it can also go very scary. I
But
do
I
get
just
that.
want to say one thing. This year, as we also tackle with the climate change, this year in Europe, we start to feel hottest environmental conditions. This year was very strong, all Europe. And so we don't know in future how many years will we see with the good conditions of the world. But I am sure that the people start to move to another planet for the future, because the Earth won't be enough to live with. Also, like next, like for the future, requirement will be different. Now we could not guess, but future sustainability will be different, because the conditions will be different. No.
Definitely.
Okay, we have come to an end, and I think it's just that I would like to tell the audience, if you have any questions, now is the time. You can shoot those across, and we will definitely try to get you prompt replies. So we have to wait a little for the questions to pop up. Meanwhile, I think thank you so much. This has been a very interesting, fun, imaginative, scary, and yet such a informative and enlightening discussion that I don't think we could have asked for anything more out of a good panel. So thank you so much, Oznur. Thank you so much, Monish, for agreeing to be a part of IDA 2.0 and gracing us with your presence, showing us your work, expressing your views, and being so candid. We couldn't thank you enough.
I would like to thank too for all the great day. I'm really appreciate to meet with Monish also and studio.
Same
And so
likewise.
thank you for IIDA Summit for this invitation.
Thank you. Definitely, I think
Great.
it was a wonderful session. Was not very, I mean, it's really exciting to see your work, what you guys are doing, and like especially with the flexible mold. I think that's crazy. One of those things I only imagined, but you guys are actually doing it. So that's fantastic. So happy to see the work and interact with you. And thank you, Ida, for having me. And yes, really enjoyed the session. Thank you.
Great. Okay, guys. So with that, we come to an end to our panel discussions and with Monish and Oznur. But we will be back in a short while. So stay tuned. Day two is about to get over, but there is still some left. Thank you, Monish. Thank you, Oznur.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.